Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, good people. We're getting ready to go get our pizza. We're getting ready to get started in a moment. Just want to make sure you guys. Hi. Hello, hello. We're on Facebook as well as YouTube. Let me change this camera around. Sorry we're late. I had. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. She's saying it's my fault that we're late. It's not my fault. She's going down there to get some pizza. Oh, there I am. It's so dark in here. This room is so dark. Hold on, let me see if I can turn the light over here. It's really dark around here. Trying to see where I get some light up in this place. It's dark. Yeah, I can't see it. We just moved from a different spot. And the light, hold on a second. The lighting is not good. I don't want the light on the face. How's that light? Is that better, guys? Is that better lighting? Lighting sucks. Hello, everybody. Hello, chat. Hello, 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 hello. How is everyone doing tonight? Hope you guys are having awesome, awesome evening. I'm so tired. I still hadn't got enough sleep yet. So, are you able to connect on Twitter at the same time? Never done that, Stephanie. Never done that before. Hey, guys over there. Never done that before. So we'll see. I will now, hey guys, over here on this side of the road. We're trying to, it looks a little bit better, right? We're just waiting for her to come back. In the meantime, I do have the transcript for the first three. Wait, you turn off the light. Okay, we need the light so we can see a little bit in our subject. So we got our dinner. Dinner is late. So let's see. How was court today? As you guys know, I did not go to this court, but I had my own court going on, and I did that by Zoom. Awesome. I won my case. That's right. I won my case. We will not talk about it, but we will continue. Thank you. Thank you, Spitting Fire. Thank you. Thank you. A win is a win, no matter how you get it. Y'all, cheers. Cheers. Thank you, guys. It ain't my money. Ronald won that money. I just wanted to win. I gotta get some more people a chance to come on here, y'all. Gotta wait for some more people. Get the numbers up. Get the likes up. You was telling me how to do the forensic tech. You was telling me how to do this thing to go sideways layout. Let's see layout. Let's see. Oh, the layout still sucks. Let's see. And it's just trying to see if I can do this layout here. Nope, that don't work. Nope, that don't work. That don't work. That don't work. That don't work. Oh, none of these layouts work. Hey, Turkey. Hey, Anime Lover. Hey, Rhoda. Hey, Nova. Hey, Spitfire. Hey, people in the bushes. Hey, Anointed One. Hey, Rita. Hey, Fasan. Thank you. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Amber. Hey, Miss Fat. Hey, Taz. Hey, y'all. I'm going to say it just like she do. They go to the lady of the hour, the one with all the info. You can't even see your face. It's so dark. Maybe if we turn the TV on and turn it off and we can see it. Yeah. We can see our face. Yeah. Gotta get the remote. You want to get it? Yeah. All right. Get the remote. Turn the TV on. I'll turn the TV on without watching the TV. Without to make it mute. Put a mute button. I'll put the mute button on. All right. Is that better? Do y'all see our faces now? This is crazy. We're still trying to see. Oh yeah. Yes, it still sucks. I don't know, the lighting sucks. Your lighting on your thing is better. No, it's not. It looks better. Thank you guys. The lighting sucks here. Let me get to the pages. All right, here we go. No, I'm not going nowhere. Not going nowhere. I gotta find it first. Give me a second, y'all. Yeah, I'm being greedy. I gotta eat my pizza. My pizza. My New York pizza. This Chicago girl, we're trying to see which one pizza is better. Kendra, what is Court TV saying? So I can compare. So why don't they let you bring? I'm trying to get some numbers up in here. I'm trying to bring someone on camera. I'm gonna try to bring Kendra on. No one gets inside of the courtroom. They have an overflow room. So the only people that's in the courtroom is the judge, the legal teams, the jury, the witnesses, and Rob. That's it. Nobody. And the marshals. Kendra, I was trying to bring you on so you could tell me what they was saying. The reporters came out, y'all. They just came out a lot later today than they normally do. Not a minute. CNN was out there. Kendra didn't. Finally. You're trying to get Kendra on her side to come in. Oh, it's that connection failed. I don't know why. I'll wait till you get your people together. Let me see if they Hey people. Thank you for the cat. Thank you. We got 296 guys. Get the lights up. Has anybody seen what they reported today? Because I haven't seen what they was. I know they were saying something. What about they was talking about today. I know they talked about his music. What about his music? They said that his catalog is being sold or something like that. Thank you, Rhoda. That's lies. The Julia woman don't give the whole rundown. What happened? All right. She's not giving a whole rundown. Court TV believes he's guilty based on their commentary. Court TV is all negative. Oh, they're negative because that lady seems like she got something going on. That's why I make sure I take good notes and I make sure that it's all in order so y'all know how it really went down. The only thing I hate is that sometimes these the lawyers, they go back and forth. They kind of hop around a lot. So that's what kind of makes these lives longer too. But today it's not gonna be as long. They had a total of, Azriel was still on the stand. I think 4 witnesses today.
One was via TV.
What is that one name?
Veronica. She was just a biology scientist, a biological scientist, whatever she called herself, biological scientist. Um,
And who was the other one?
so you had Azriel finish her testimony. You had Mr. Keith Williams come in today. He's an old friend of Rob. He probably about,
and that's not
his late 50s, 60s.
That's not Keith, his best friend.
Williams. He testified. It's not his friend Keith. His friend Keith sat there and watched Keith Williams testify. He testified because he's a childhood friend of Rob's. And you had the first engineer intern at Track Studios testify. He closed. They're gonna be opening with him tomorrow. And then you had Azriel. Azriel brought company today. She had her friend sitting in the courtroom with us in the overflow room. And her friend, one of her best friends, testified today. And that was it. That was it.
Yep, Dottie's the bomb with the nose. That's just the one. She's a champ. Dottie's a champ.
Okay, so let's see. They said who cried? Oh yeah, Keith Williams. He broke down and cried. Yeah, they issued a warrant for somebody in Chicago that is refusing to fly to New York to testify. So they issued a warrant for them. They have someone by the name of Tim Jones that's going to be testifying, but he's going to be doing it Zoom. And Susan Loggins.
Logan.
We don't need to know her name. She's not important. She's going to be testifying come probably tomorrow or Tuesday because I don't think there's court Monday. Okay, so y'all ready? What's mine before I start?
Shout out to Dottie.
I don't know if Joy getting on the stand.
If we don't know something, we'll tell you.
I know you would have, Kevin.
Hmm?
She said if I was there, I would have checked that bitch. I should play like I'm Azriel. This is how she said in court. I don't recall. She's a smart ass little motherfucker. I will say that.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Have y'all seen? Nope. Joy has not been there. Susan Loggins. Yep, she testified. What is that sake of? Don't know about the ex-wife. Did not see number 5's parents there. I don't know if they still together.
They did show Shabazz.
So today, Azriel was on this. Oh shit! I said number 5 was on the stand this morning, and it started out with Kennick finishing his cross-examination of her. So basically, he asked her. Give me 1 second. I'm going to start with this. Okay, so they started off by saying first that they had a witness that was going to be testifying from Chicago, and it was going to be about Rob's semen being on that T-shirt from Geronda. So they let the judge know that that was one of their witnesses for today. So the first thing Kennick asked her was, did she have the opportunity to speak with the government after we closed last night? She said no. And then he started off by asking her, did you and your father shop book deals? And she started out saying no. Then he asked her again. She said yes. And then they said, do you know who you shopped those book deals with? And she said she couldn't remember. And so he said, well, was it Stacey Brown? And she said yes. And then Kennick asked her, do you have an agent? She says she does, but she doesn't remember the agent's name.
How do you not remember
So
your
then
agent's
she
name?
said, so then Kenny said, well, do you know Charlene? And she said, yes. And he said, well, that's your agent.
Oh, wow.
So then they asked, when did you start book shopping or shopping for your books? She said she don't recall. He said, was it in 2019? I don't recall. So he shows her a couple of electronics to refresh her memory. And then she said, well, yes, it does. He said, does that refresh your memory? She said, yes, it does. So it says by February the 5th of 2020, now mind you guys, she broke up with Rob. She testified she left Rob in January of 2020. He said that she had already the person that she shopped the book to was already sending her a draft manuscript of an entire book. She said she doesn't recall that. So he had her look at another doc, and then basically he was proving that she was out to get money, and she was looking. Soon as she broke up with Raw or she left Raw, whatever the situation was, she started doing deals and all kind of things for money. She started taking pictures. Okay, she started talking about. They talked about she started taking the pictures. So remember, I told you guys she took the pictures, kissing on his cheek, making goofy faces. She was sitting on his lap. Those pictures, that was a big deal. She said she started taking those pictures in the beginning to exploit him, but at some point she stopped because she started to feel guilty.
She said at the mechanic?
Yeah. And then they started presenting some evidence. So understand everything that they present, they either leave it just for the witness and the jury, or they do it for the witness, jury, and public. A lot of this wasn't for me. So I can only tell y'all that at that time, she couldn't deny it because they brought her evidence to show that that's what the case was. So then they started, when we left off yesterday, she had wrote some letters to her father, her mother, and her brother. So that's kind of what, after he asked those couple of questions, he went directly into the letters, and he had her read it. But I wasn't gonna write all that, so I took what I thought was important from the letter. The first one was to her dad. And she says, Pops, you didn't tell Mommy you used to call Rob for hours and was all happy and shit on the phone with him. You didn't switch up until you started listening to the Savages. They found they found other exes and started telling them what to say.
Ooh.
In this letter, as was actually okay, so when she wrote this letter, she was telling her father that he was wrong for trying to set up Rob, and she was telling him that she was in love with Rob, and she wouldn't let them sacrifice her happiness to appease them. She says she's not happy. She's not happy that they're not in her life, but she will never speak to them again if they keep bashing Rob. So in that first letter, she says that they jumped on the bandwagon with the Savages once the Savages decided they needed to set Rob up. They literally studied his old case, found exes, coached them into telling certain stories based on whatever the 2008 case was, and then started enlisting, like calling news stations and doing the whole Avenatti thing, and basically started to try to shop their stories to set him up. So it was initiated by the Savages, and the Clarys jumped on board. I mean, the Clarys jumped on board to make it bigger, to get a platform out of it. At first, they was just looking for money and jobs and all of that. But to get the platform and reality shows, they jumped on board with the Savages. So in the second letter, it was to why are you getting angry when I don't reach out when they? Okay, we're gonna go to the third letter. It was to her mom. She said, "You're only upset because you were in this to get money, and if you got the money, you wouldn't be doing any of this. You knew where I was for 5 years. At 17, you told me to take as many pics to blackmail. You literally pushed me into this man's arms, making me feel like a hoe. said you're fucking my she called Rob and she told Rob, you fucking my daughter. You need to send me 10K every month. She said, you dropped me off at 3 a.m. to be with Rob. Set him up. I feel like a prostitute. I'm grown now, but I can make my own decisions. So with that, she was saying basically what it says. Um Alice kept pushing number 5 to have sex with Rob. Rob didn't show any interest in her. And she kept telling her mother, he doesn't like me. He doesn't like me. He hasn't tried to have sex with me. And the mother kept forcing her to do it. And that's where the pictures came in. He's not going to have sex with you. We'll take the pictures. So that's what that's talking about. That didn't work. Alice got desperate and told him, this is her statement. This is what she wrote, to send $10,000 every month to this account. And she just talked about how Alice would just drop her off in the middle of the night on random times and basically prostitute her out. The 4th letter was to Rob. She said, thought about it, wants to figure out what to do. If you don't want, okay, so this one, her parents are starting to get to her. You can tell in the letters. They're pressuring her. So now she's saying she thought about whatever conversation they had.
These letters written after he was in jail already?
So some of these letters was written while he was, no, okay, yeah, so let me tell you that. Some of these letters were written while he was locked up, and some was written when he wasn't locked up.
Okay.
So the ones to him, obviously, he was locked up. The ones to her parents, he was not locked up. Okay. And, so she said, I thought about it, want to figure out what to do if you don't want to marry me. So she was basically trying to give him an ultimatum right there because he didn't want to marry her. And she was getting frustrated. The 5th letter, another letter to Rob.
Did she read them out loud?
At this time, yeah. So I kind of grabbed like the most important part so that I can basically help y'all figure out what was said in the letter. So and tell it. Okay, so the 5th letter she had said, well, she left him at that time to go back to Florida, and she had came back within 24 hours. She admitted on the stand because he kept saying what Kenneth was trying to get out was, you left though, right? She said, yeah, but I left, but it was only for one day. He said, but you left though, right? Yeah, I left multiple times. So she was being a smart ass on the stand, but not realizing she's telling on herself. She fucking herself over. So she said that, and then she turned around. I think she realized she caught herself, and she said, no, I only left on one occasion.
She changed it?
Yeah, she changed it that quick. Look, it's in the same. And then she says, she sent a 6th letter. In that letter, she says, I can tell this is to Rob. Hold on. Freeze up. Am I froze, y'all? Before I read the 6th letter? I'm about sick.
You just moved.
Okay, I guess not. No, it's not showing me that I'm froze, but they saying it in the comments. Okay, so the 6th letter says, she says, I can tell this won't get resolved. I'm tired of going through this. I don't want this type of relationship. She was still with Rob at the time she wrote that, but we're living with him, but she doesn't recall if she really left him or not, if they wasn't together and she was just still living there. So Kenneth shows her some evidence again, where she sent a text to somebody in her family saying, baby, I ain't never been held against my will. Stop reading tabloids. We seen that was actually made public. That was sent in October of 2019. That's actually when she first left. No. Okay. That's actually when she first left. So then he started to talk about when she sent that text to her mom saying that they was in Las Vegas and everybody was having fun but her. So he started to touch on the fact that everybody was there was 21 and she wasn't. So, but he didn't finish that. He moved on to another topic. So I'm guessing that's what he was going to tell her. That's why you couldn't have fun and you stayed in your room because you in Las Vegas and you ain't 21. Went back home after telling him. They talked about her going back home after telling him she was 17. They talked about the parents giving him giving guardianship to someone they had never met because Juice mother is the person they gave the guardianship to, but they had never met her, never spoken to her or anything. So Kennick was really touching on that. You give guardianship of your child over to somebody you never met. So remember yesterday I told y'all that she testified that when she was on the tour bus, if she went to the bathroom, they didn't have to knock to go in the bathroom, but they did have to knock to come out of the bathroom. And she said yes, and she demonstrated her knock. It's like, no, that wasn't it. She had to knock to come out the bathroom. So Kennick said, well, tell me, isn't it true? The reason you had to knock on the door when you came out is because right behind the bathroom door was a microwave and someone could be walking past with their food. So he had everybody that went into the bathroom on the bus knock. So there, it was basically a safety issue. And she said, no, that wasn't it. So he said, okay.
But that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
A lot of sense, right?
Because why would you not coming out? No reason for knocking coming out.
And we know how them buses is. So yeah, he said it was because of where the microwave and everything was placed, so when nobody get hurt, spill their food, whatever.
They probably had accidents like that before.
And then she just went on to say that the girl that he said that she seen a video of him dragging one of the girls by their hair, that was Dominique. When Kel said out the glove coming for the parents, that's the question everybody kept asking. Wide hips.
Oh, he was on live?
Joyce. Oh, okay. Oh, went home. They ate dinner. Okay, so he just touched on when they were home, how they all ate dinner together. And Rob would sometimes play the piano for them as they ate. And then she said, no, that never happened. He never played the piano for us when we ate. And he said, so you're telling me Rob never played the piano for you when you ate? She said, no, Rob never played the piano for us when we ate. He played the piano for me when I ate.
Words to semantics.
It was to the point, y'all, where Kennick was actually in there yelling at her. And the prosecutors tried to object. And then the judge said, what are you objecting for? And they said his tone. And she said, overruled. And Kennick went right back to yelling at this girl. That's how much she was frustrating the damn judge. So she says, they said, isn't it true that you just wanted to be his number one? You're mad because you couldn't be his number one girl. And she says, no, I never wanted to be his primary girlfriend, his number one. And they said, but you said he put you on the pedestal yesterday. And she said, no, he put me on that pedestal. No, she said, he put me on that pedestal. I didn't want to be on that pedestal. It ain't my fault. Her exact words. I can't control what he do. All that mouth, but she didn't have sense to leave a situation where she claimed she was so abused, whatever the situation was, but you got all of that mouth. I find that hard to believe, and I think the jury gonna see that too. She's not one to sit and just take some shit from somebody. She's not gonna do that.
I hope the jury sees straight through the mess.
They will, because I wanted to pop her in her damn mouth. Like, show some respect. Look, smart ass. JP lied about the shirt. She said he spit on her. See, Kendra, I thought she said he spit on her too. But it's no saliva on that shirt. It's only semen. Okay, so then ask Rob. Oh, so here's the gotcha. They weren't allowed to, remember, they couldn't eat, couldn't go to the bathroom, couldn't all that food. Shit we know that
didn't get no food.
Rob was literally putting $5,000 a month in each one of these girls' accounts.
Wow. Put 5,000 in my account. You see what I
Girl,
do with it.
I say 500 at this point. Take how many men is putting $5,000 and he had how many women?
And $5,000
He
each
had
one
how many women?
account.
And each
Oh
one of
my
them got
God.
5,000 a month.
A month?
And then you know they ain't have to spend that money. They ain't do shit but stack that damn money. Because he was still
Dang.
spending his.
5,000 times 12. Y'all know how much of a house I could buy?
That don't make no sense.
Down payment on a house?
And she was looking for a job with no damn with no skills, no nothing, no just well, that's what she said. She didn't want his money. She wanted to make her own
How come
money.
she don't have any money then?
So they all had Chase accounts and they can retrieve it, but also Rob paid for all of her Uber and Lyft accounts too. So she was able to Uber and Lyft into the airport if she needed to. And it was on his dime, but he didn't do nothing for her.
Man, she messed up the bag, y'all.
No.
She messed up the bag. She's dumb. Pam. She messed up Pam. Pam,
She bought his
your man. That's that. Pam, your man just messed. I mean, she messed up.
That don't make no damn sense. I'll sue her for every $5,000 I put in that account. Says Rob. She said Rob was preventing her from working, and he didn't want her to work. And then they asked, well, where were you trying to get a job at? She said, well, anywhere. And then he said, well, what skills do you have? She said, I don't have no skills. I never worked before. So where were you trying to get a job at? And she said, corporate America.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doing what? Said, what does she want to do?
So they left that alone, but they did come back to that. I ain't gonna have to. That's why it's gonna be shorter. Because I just told y'all. She said she wanted to work corporate America. So they went back to talking about celebrating the holidays. So they had retrieved text messages. Now, mind you, he said it again. He said, yesterday you testified that Rob didn't celebrate any holiday. She said, no, I didn't. I testified that he had them delayed. And he said, yeah, okay. And he said, well, isn't it true that you sent your friend a text message? Your friend sent you a text message saying, hey, what you get for Christmas? And you said hella clothes, heels, gym shoes, the brand new Jordans, a big ass iPad, all kind of purses, some money, and everything I wanted. But he didn't celebrate Christmas, but that's what he got her on top of $10,000.
Wow.
They asked about, because remember she testified that she never played volleyball and things before with him. They said they asked her about a trip to the beach. They showed it was Exhibit X, which was a picture of her. That picture of her and Rob where he's sitting on the sand on the blanket and then she's sitting behind him. So that's Exhibit X. And they showed that to him. So Kennick asked her, didn't you find a beach on the north side of Chicago and you asked Rob to take you to that beach? And she said, well, he didn't. He said, well, he didn't right then, but he did take you to that beach. He planned a whole picnic and took her to the beach.
Wow.
And she replied, yes. So they showed Exhibit X was a picture of her and Rob. Exhibit W was Rob and her in the mirror. Remember when she had that that blonde wig on? That's Exhibit W. She said she recognized both. That's another time she wanted to go somewhere and he took her. Exhibit U was another letter that she wrote a lot of letters, y'all. Another letter that she wrote. Exhibit Y is also another letter. So, okay, this is Exhibit U. This is a letter to her brother. It's long, so let me see. I wrote down as much as I could. I think I did good because I got a lot of it. Okay, so the letter to the brother read, brother, the reason I haven't texted or called is because one, take time to think about parents. She said she had to take some time to think about her parents and what they've done to ruin her relationship. Two, she came to Florida to see him to see if she could trust him because she cannot trust her parents. She was happy with Rob. You don't have, she says, you don't have an idea of what my parents put. She called them mom and pop, a mom and pops. Mm-hmm. what they did in the beginning to blackmail, and they're doing it now. They used me to lure him in and blackmail him. Going along, she said, I going along with it because I thought. She said she only went along with it because she thought he was an interesting person. But then she grew to love him because he showed her nothing but love and respect.
Wow.
But the parents never changed. Mom tried to have me sleep with him and set him up. Mom even told me to tell him I'm 18 and even told me to dress sexy to entice him, but he didn't even come on to me. I told police I was 18 because parents told me to tell Rob I was 18. They told police I was 18. So remember when the police came to the house when they first had that encounter? She was going to audition at the Dolphin Hotel. When the police got there, she had actually, I would have told the world, those people are crazy and they big scam. Oh yeah, they definitely some big ass scam artists. So at the hotel, remember she said, yesterday she testified that the police made her call her parents on speaker. So when they called her parents, she said, yeah, I'm fine. And the parents actually told the police officers their daughter is 18 years old.
Whoa.
So that's why the police didn't think nothing about it when it came to her ID or anything, because the parents told the police on the phone that she was 18 years old. Okay, so let me finish. She knew that they was setting him up because they sent her to that hotel. She said, brother, I'm telling you the truth. Can't make this shit up. She said Rob was not interested in her, and the more he did that, the more they told her to push up on him, do it more. The more she did, wait, hold on. Yeah. The more she said the more she had to do that, the more she felt bad. So she decided to come clean and tell Rob the truth. He didn't get mad because they had never had sex. So he had no reason to get mad at her, but she told him her parents' whole plot. She said he never showed any interest in me. They literally signed her over because the first setup, which was at the Dolphin Hotel, did not work. She was happy because she was tired of being treated like a hoe by her parents. So she was happy that they did sign her over to be with Rob. She had no problem with staying with him because she didn't want to be with her parents. And then she had grown to love him. She said, then Pops told them that if he didn't start sending money, they would go on social media and exploit him. They told her okay, so they actually asked number 5 to bring the dildo to him. She said she didn't feel comfortable doing that because she wasn't in a sexual relationship with him, so why should she be bringing sexual things to him? So she told her mom she wasn't gonna do that. So y'all remember when they talked about they went to the show, they showed up at his concerts and they was trying to get their daughter and everything. They acted a fool, and I believe it was Don Russell had them arrested. That was true, but that wasn't why they was there. They actually came there with a bunch of dildos and they started pulling them all out backstage trying to embarrass him because he would not do that deal with them. So that's why they was arrested and carried out. And she says that they started showing up at his shows, pulling out dildos. Mom told Rob she didn't say if they. She said she told Rob that he didn't have to have sex with her. All he had to do was just let her be his driver, and they'd be fine. She continued to threaten. She said she was continued to be threatened by the mother because she wasn't getting what she wanted. Mother kept asking if they were having sex when she was 17. She said no. Mother got mad, so that's when she started to text Rob and said, well, since you fucking my daughter, you better send that money to the 10K to that account. She said that didn't work, so they teamed up with the Savages and started digging up old stuff, found exes, coached them on what to say so that they can get book deals, reality shows, and etc. That's the letter that she wrote to her brother, y'all.
Wow.
Any questions about that?
Okay, so where's Team True? Okay. They said, okay, Team True is the team with Larry and all of them.
Mhm.
They said it was supposed to be a bombshell delivered today. What was the bombshell?
I believe that was it. That was the bombshell, y'all. The bombshell was Azriel wrote this letter to. Oh, I'm gonna tell you what the
No, no, no,
bombshell
no, no.
was.
I'm talking about the other side because they sent Angelo's side dropped the bombshell today.
There was no fucking bombshell
Okay.
dropped today.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell. Okay, so they may have thought they dropped the bombshell. That backfired. So wellness checks. He asked about was wellness checks done at all the locations she's lived in. She said yes, wellness checks were always done. Okay, so now he said, well, he was done questioning her, and then the prosecution redirected. When did she write the letter to her brother? I don't know when. They didn't give a date for the letter actually, but when she wrote it, when I go on, you're gonna be able to kind of get a timeline of it. So, like I said, the letters that she wrote to her parents, brother, those were all before he was incarcerated. The letters after that she wrote to Rob was while he was incarcerated.
So the mother number was like, around what time?
Oh, so that letter to her brother, she was 17.
Oh, it was when she was 17?
Yeah, or 17.
Okay.
No, she wasn't 17 because she said in the letter when she was 17, that's what her parents were doing to her.
Okay.
So she was older.
older.
Yeah, and I guess her brother, what she explained was that her and her brother had a very close relationship, but she had cut him off as well because she didn't know if she could trust him because she knew she couldn't trust her parents. So she sent that letter to him to try to open up to him. Well, she said she never sent it.
Well, remember, they also trying to say that Rob made them write them.
I ain't got to that part yet.
No, somebody just said something.
I ain't got to that part yet. Hold on, y'all. That's the bombshell. Um. Okay, so they said the prosecution said when you told the defendant you were 18, not 17, why did you do that? She said, "Oh, it was because of his previous court case."
Ooh.
So she said, "This is now this is her side. This is the prosecution questioning her. Um, why did you tell the defendant that you were 18 and not 17? Because of his previous court case." Okay, when they asked the question about the parents giving up guardianship to Juice's mother, um, Rob told her about her and had. Okay, she said they. Okay, so you remember Canick said, "Why would your parents give guardianship to somebody that you don't even know? They never even met." So here she says Rob had already told her about her, and she had been around her, and the parents knew about her as well. So she's basically saying, no, we did know about him. We did know about Juice Mom. So that wasn't true. Then they said, you will show letters and etc. that you wrote to your family. Did you send those letters? She said no. And then said the defendant made her write those letters, had girlfriends write letters to send to attorneys like that all the time. Rob told her what to say to protect him from previous court cases. Because of his previous court case, the lawyer told him for his protection to get those letters himself. Never show family. She said she never showed her family those letters. So I guess that's maybe the bombshell or something that they was trying to drop today. So um they enter exhibit 315 and 316, which was statements Rob made her write in evidence. Well, that's what she said. They were statements Rob made her write. And those were submitted in evidence. Yeah. So then it says the content in the handwritten letters are repeated in typewritten letters. She says Rob made her write those letters. So the same thing she wrote, she also typed those letters. And she's saying that he made her do that.
I want to put a plug in a commercial, y'all. I don't have enough to order her what do you call it? Her transcript. She said, "I don't know."
It was fabricated. So they asked her, the letters that you said that you wrote to your mom, were those made up? She said, yes, it was all fabricated. It was Rob who made me write it. So in exhibit 456 through 461, she said those is letters that she had the right to basically incriminate herself, and he made her write that. So the first letter says, Robert, I wanted you, but you only wanted to be friends. Help me learn. You help me learn music. Um, says y'all gotta excuse me. I'll be writing so fast. Says something. Says I want. Well, basically in this letter, she was saying that she said, Robert, I wanted you, but you only want us to be friends. You helped me learn my music. Uh, she said, if you don't, oh, that's what it says. She says, if you don't bring me back that dick, I'm going to tell everyone you rape me. I will tell everyone you rape me. What? And that you're fucking a minor, even though I know you didn't. She says the letter is not true, and it's a letter that he had her write and other females write as well. So Exhibit 456 is another letter. It states, Rob, I did something bogus just in case you caught me stealing. I decided to spank myself really hard and make bruises. She says she never spanked herself, and that was something Rob told her to write to protect herself. She took photos of her bruises and she sent them to her email because she said he checked her phone, and she knew he didn't know how to check emails. He don't know how to do any of that. So that's what she thought it would be safe. But when she did do that, he sent Juice to go through her phone. Juice found the emails, and when she found them, she took the emails to Rob, and supposedly, allegedly, he took the phone, and she said she never seen it again. Those emails were from 2015. Well, I said the same thing. He had to come up with all of that for how many different girlfriends? How was he keeping track of how many letters that he was having them writing? This is too much. Like, if you have common sense, then you know that. Well, what did she write? If you keep getting in that bed. No, I can't check in mine, so you can't check in yours. Come over here and check. R. Kelly is not taking the time of day thinking of this shit. He has better things to do. Yeah, I wish he. Yeah. Okay, so then she say, asked about the name. She was asked to call. They asked her again about the name. She was asked to call him, and she said from the age of 17 to 19, she had to strictly call him Daddy. After Daddy, she decided to call him Papa Bear. Oh, right. This is still the prosecution questioning her. So she asked before if she was taken to a. They said we asked you before if you were taken to a concert in LA. She said yes, she remembers being on the West Coast, but doesn't remember the city that she was actually in. Okay. Exhibit 2217 is the American boarding pass for April the 29th, 2015. It says that she went to LA because Rob said so. He paid for it. And I guess Exhibit 217 is the proof that she was in LA on April the 29th. This was her first trip, and she explained that she remembered that was their first sexual encounter because the hotel was so nice. She never been in a hotel with a kitchenette, and she never been in a hotel with a fireplace. So that's how she remembers that night. But if you ask her that question again, she's not going to be able to tell you when it happened, what city she was in, or anything like that. But she remembers it because of the kitchenette and the fireplace. He that's when he wrote her that text, and he told her that's when he told her that the trip wasn't a wash trip because the show was canceled in LA. So it wasn't a trip. It wasn't she could still take advantage of the trip by practicing her music or whatever. So it wasn't a wash trip. I just spoke on that. She remembers having. They asked her, did you have sex with Rob before that trip to Vegas in 2015? She said yes. And she said the reason why she remembered it is because he wouldn't allow Juice to leave. She had to watch. Yeah. Yeah, she said she remembered it because Juice was there and she watched. I know tomorrow if they put her back on the stand, Juice is gonna be asleep again.
Yeah, I'm gonna put
When
her back on screen.
I'm just being funny,
Oh,
but because she said this yesterday, she said this today.
okay.
Her testimony has literally. They asked the same question 3 days in a row, and each day it was something different. It depends on who asking the question, what answer you'll get. But I thought she said okay. When she testified that her mother told her to take pics. Okay, she said when she testified that her mother told her to take pics while kissing, said that wasn't true. But the mother only asked for pics. Well, she said when the mother asked for pics to exploit, Rob told her to send and add. She said Rob told the mother asked for some pictures, and she sent the pictures. But before she sent the pictures, Rob told her to write to exploit Rob. So yeah, she sent a picture. She captioned it to exploit Rob, but she said Rob told her to do that. She provided to the media in 2020. Okay, so they were saying you went to the media in 2020 and you talked about all these things that he did, but you didn't do it in 2015, 16, 17, 18. But she did when he was no longer residing at the Trump because she said, but you did when he was no longer residing at the Trump, and she said she didn't recall why she provided it, why or when she actually provided it to the media. She was still with him. He provided to. Okay, she said the only reason why she did the Shabazz documentary was because that it was Rob's friend and they were doing it to protect him. But she said she only spoke with Shabazz about it. She never really spoke to Rob about it, but that was the reason for the whole documentary to protect him. Ask questions. They asked questions about Dominique Juice. Oh, the press was saying the defense asked you questions about Dominique and Juice having jobs or having cars. And then the prosecution said, but you really didn't know that if they had cars or jobs. And she said, no, I didn't know. And she said, that's because you guys weren't allowed to speak about that. And she said, right. She said she took a job. She took steps in 2019 to get a job. And they said, what kind of job? She said, any job that was hiring, retail, corporate office again. She said, but Rob said it would have to be right. And when they asked her, what does right mean? She said everybody knew what right meant. And they said, well, what does it mean? And she said, well, it means I have to find a job where there could be no men working there. And in order to work there, she said her and Joy had to be working together. And that's the only way that he was going to allow them to work. Asked about a home left. Wait, hold on. Okay, so when the defense asked her, didn't you go to Florida and then you returned the next day? And she said yes. So the prosecution asked, okay, so when you went to Florida and returned, why did you actually return? She said because when she left, she went to Florida to see her brother. Her brother invited her to a hookah lounge to make her feel, to uplift her spirits. And I'm guessing that it wasn't said, but I'm guessing Rob found out that she went to this hookah lounge or something. So he booked her a flight that same night and flew her back to Florida. So that's the only reason why she went and came right back. She testified on. She testified on cross-examination that he dressed her and wanted her to look grown. Exhibit 233A is being shown to her. It was a message from her mother, April 12th. April 12th, 2015. Saying she was going to audition at the hotel. Her mother texted and said not to look grown. So the prosecution is saying that they have a text message that dated April the 12th, but in the beginning they said she went to the hotel 2 days after the April the 8th festival. But this April the 12th, her mom was telling her, if you go into that audition, go, but basically don't look grown. They asked her about They asked her about exhibits Q and R, which was the type letters that she had wrote, which was pretty similar. Well, the type letters that was similar to the letters she wrote. And she said she wrote the letters because he was no longer living at Trump. And while he was in jail, Rob told her to write those letters because he needed them to uplift his spirits. And she said, and he told her that those were the type of letters that went unchecked, meaning because he was incarcerated and the feds read all your mail and everything, those were the kind of letters that would pass or whatever. And because I'm guessing she was on the indictment, so these were just the type of letters she had to write. She stated at that particular time she sent those. She was not cooperating with the government. She was named on the indictment, and that was the reasons the letters were written to protect him again. So they started talking about the indictment all the time. I wrote letters to Rob. She was not cooperating. She wrote letters to Rob saying that she wouldn't be cooperating with the government. In Defense Exhibit Q, Rob supposed there was carved initials into a table. The initials were carved into the table at a Hyatt outside of Atlanta. And she said right before that, it was a picnic. So the day that he had wrote their initials. So I guess he was doing like a little sweet thing for them. He wrote their initials in a table at the Hyatt. That was the same day he was planning a picnic for them. She said that they didn't do stuff like that. So the defense was pointing out that he did. He planned a picnic. And prior to them days, they was at the big house, and that's when she wrote letters for him to remain positive. But the prosecution is saying the only reason she wrote those letters for him to remain positive because one of his rules was to always find a positive quote to say to daddy every day. So writing those letters was another way of doing what she was accustomed to doing for the last 5 years. Again, they talked about the documentary, and she said that was just a way for her to support Rob. It was all made by Shabazz. Exhibit U, the circumstance that led to her writing this was what I told her what to say. She gave the letters to Rob. It was not accurate. So, no, I'm just trying to read over them. So, Exhibit U was some other letters that I had already read. She said that Rob told her to write that. He actually told her exactly what to say. She said it was not accurate, where she said she was 17 and never had sex with Rob. So she said that was not true. Rob told her to say that. All reports taken. She's okay. So when basically what they saying is when the feds took your statements and everything, did you look them over for accuracy? And she's saying that she didn't look over there. So they would basically literally have to get every single thing she said to them, like every single thing except for her name, wrong on the reports that they took. So how they closed it, this is the prosecution. They said, who exposed you to herpes, the defendant or your parents? She said, Rob. Well, she said defendant. Or defendant. Okay. I don't like calling him the defendant. That's why I don't ever write it down. She said, who made you sexually active at the age of 17? Rob. Who gave you spankings? Rob. Who made you eat feces and spread all over your and what did he say? I didn't write it down, but did she say she had to put it on her face? Smear it on your face. She said, Rob. Who made you stay in a room for days at a time? Rob. Who directed you to have sex with other women? Rob. Who made you have sex with nephew? Rob. That was her cue. She started crying. Actress. Yeah. So this is okay. So they set the bomb, right? Saying truth, they said it was gonna be a bomb today. Yeah. So after that, it looked like okay, she didn't mess. The prosecution did good or whatever. So Kenneth gets back over to cross-examine. He says, so you're saying all of this is not true, but you told federal agents that you did not have sex with Rob at 17. She said that wasn't correct. He said, so is I was tired. He asking other. Okay, so okay, I'm just gonna sum all of this up. So basically, Devereaux came back and he said, you wrote those letters and you're saying you wrote them under the direction of Rob. This was before he was arrested. She said, yes, he told me to write those letters. But you became a federal witness in January of 2020. She said, yes. He says, looking at the reports that they took, the notes from all of your statements, you told them the exact same thing that was said in those letters that you're saying that Rob made you write. And she said she didn't recall. He said, but if Rob was arrested and you're now a federal informant, you're not with him, why would you still feel the need to tell the federal agents the exact same thing that you had put in those letters? So that's where he got her. She was lying. I hope do y'all get what I'm saying? He said, there's no way to prove when those letters were. So yeah, some of the letters had dates on them, but they just didn't show us. But it was dates. They showed it to her. But the thing is, she was telling the government the same. So everything that they have about her mother setting them up, her dad doing this, all of that stuff, that's what she told to the federal agents in January of 2020 when she was supposed to have turned on Rob. Now she's here, 2021, saying that she didn't say that stuff or she didn't recall or Rob forced her to do it, but it makes no sense. He was already in jail when you gave these statements. And you know what else? They haven't even told us what she said to Greenberg, because remember, Greenberg always said he had an affidavit too from her. We don't even know what that say. Back to the letter she wrote to her brother. Mom wanted her to take pics to blackmail. Did you not tell her to the government because your mother wanted to exploit? She says, again, she did not tell the government that that she wrote a letter to her brother saying that her mom wanted to exploit Rob. She said that was not accurate. Kennick turned around and handed her the documents that the feds wrote where she actually said that to them. And she had to admit that she recalled it. She said at that point, he was basically like, when you spoke to the feds, did they tell you that you should tell the truth? And she said, yes. And then they said, did they tell you that if you didn't, it's a crime? And she says, I don't remember. So he was basically saying parts of what's in those letters that you was writing to your family, that you was writing to Rob, is also in the courts. And she also said that she don't recall. She wrote parents didn't hesitate to take her out. She wrote a letter saying it's kind of messed up that our parents didn't hesitate to take her out of school. She said she don't remember writing that. Saying something about you told the government. She said something about that she told the government that she didn't say that, but now she's saying the statement she don't remember. At the time she was at an interview with the government, she was working for so there was no reason, right? Okay, I said all that. She said the thing she said to the government was from. Yeah, she said everything that she said to the government was from Rob, not her. But Rob was no longer there. So yeah. And that's when she was being a smart ass and she pissed him off. I wrote that down too. So the prosecution came back and redirected again. And they asked about the officers showing up at the hotel. The defense objected. She says the part where they planned for the police to come was untrue. Because remember yesterday she said that they had planned for the police to show up. I'm guessing maybe they was paid or something to come. She said that wasn't true. Then the prosecution ended their questions with her and she was dismissed. So that was the end of Azriel's testimony right there. The government thought they did something, but Kenneth came back like a bulldog and shut all that shit down. He shut that shit down. She was dismissed, and then they started showing parts of precedents. Well, they didn't show precedents. They basically just had it.
Showed her after she left?
Yeah, she was she wasn't on the stand anymore. They showed it for the jury and they just played all the parts where she was talking to Angelo and all that stuff that she was saying. So we sat there for a minute and we listened to all of that.
But let me tell you something. Yesterday, the prosecutor was trying to get him not to show it to the jury.
Yeah, they did not want that to be shown, but because she denied it, it was admitted into evidence, and they was able to go ahead and show that to the jury. She had already seen it, so they did not need her there. So the ass of fall, so it's different when you here. They need to show the video.
Okay, ma'am. I gotta go to sleep. Okay, you keep reading these people.
So the next witness, this probably this one is short. This is good. This Keith Williams, y'all. He was called in by the government. He's a pastor.
And that's not Keith Williams, his friend. That's not the best friend.
Yeah. He's been a pastor for 14 years. He buys and sells cars. He grew up in the Robert Taylor homes on the south side of Chicago. He attended college for 4 years. He did not graduate. He went to school also for training to do pastor work. 85, he went to college from 81 to 85. He worked at a number of jobs, post office. Yeah, UPS, post office, First National Banks. At UPS, he worked for Dispatch. I have to write all of this stuff down because you never know if they asking these questions because it's gonna make a point later. So I try to make sure I get that so the other stuff can make sense.
Oh, how much do I need to get the Jane Doe's transcript? I'm not sure, Randa, but based on the last couple of ones, it ranged. Hold on a second, let me get it.
Okay, so while she doing that, he testified that he was a pastor, but prior work he did mortgage business for about 20 years, and then he worked for people at first, started his own company. Exhibit 7 was a picture of himself. If they asked, "Is that you?" It was taken in like around the 80s. He said yes. He was familiar with Rob because they had been friends for a long time. They started being friends about the early 20s or even a little bit earlier. Exhibit 1 was a picture of R. Kelly, his mugshot. Of all pictures, all they could find was his mugshot. He said, yes, that's him. He said he met Rob through a person at his church. He said when he knew Rob, he wasn't a professional singer. He sang, he wasn't signed. He described the relationship. They were friends. He's seen him a few times a month because he worked a lot. He said he visited the defendant's home. At that time, he lived 1010 George Street. Exhibits 501A through 501B, pics of Rob's house, which was at George Street. He said he can't recall a time frame when he lived there, but when he first met him, he obviously didn't have a house. He said he did visit the studio in Chicago. He did travel with Rob a couple of times via the tour bus. Didn't finish. The only time that they were on the tour bus, okay, because they didn't finish that. He kind of jumped around. The only time they were on the tour bus together was when they was in LA. He says he met a couple of Rob's people. Those people was Gerald Jones, Blackie, Daryl McDavid, June, Barry Hankerson, and Exhibit 8 was a picture of Gerald Jones. Exhibit 12 was a picture of Daryl. He said he was familiar with Aaliyah, and he knew about the marriage because of just the publicity around it and the media. And he says he didn't know, he wasn't sure what he knew. Barry knew Aaliyah, but he wasn't sure what their relationship was, so he didn't know that they were related. He said Rob visited him at his office maybe once or twice. So the incident that they wanted to get to was Rob visited him. He indicated that he wanted to get married. He said he wanted to get married to Aaliyah. With him was June and Demetrius. Rob asked if he knew of a minister. He said yes. He gave him the name of Nathan Edmond. He said he said he knew Nathan because they was involved in real estate together and they were friends. Exhibit 89 was a picture of Nathan. And then it was a picture of a building in the Chicago suburbs, I guess, the real estate office. He said he wasn't sure, but he could have possibly called him, reached out to Nathan, not sure. Then he said he may have called, but when they got him on the phone, however it went, once he got on the phone, he did agree to do the marriage for him and Aaliyah. Rob didn't say when he was going to marry Aaliyah, but he got the impression that it was going to be soon. And he said that he was convicted of bank fraud and perjury in 1995. He was sentenced. He could have took 24 months of time, but instead he went to boot camp for 7 months. He never worked for Rob, but talked about it he talked about it because he had got in trouble. At this point, he broke down on the stand and started crying. And he says because Rob had offered him a job when no one else did. And not only did he offer him a job, but he made him one of his managers. At this point, he's still crying, so the prosecution rested their case. Any questions? So they brought him in to testify that he met Aaliyah, that he married Aaliyah. However, Rob is not on trial for marrying Aaliyah. The only charge that's related to Aaliyah is the bribery charge. That still does not mean that he had anything to do with bribing that government official for that ID. So his testimony don't really mean shit. I think they just put that out there, put him on the stand to make him look bad. The defense cross-examination basically was, he says, he said he recalls several occasions where Rob will call him crying on the phone. He didn't say why he was crying. He just said he knew several times he would call me and he'd be crying on the phone. The prosecution objected. That's why he couldn't finish, because the prosecution objected and then they did a sidebar. By the time they came back, the only two questions Kennick asked him was Barry terminated? Barry Hankerson. He says correct. Did Barry have a bad reputation? He said correct. And that's when the defense rested. They went to lunch. And then I guess y'all can start asking questions, because the next witness wasn't nobody but a lady by Veronica Jackson. She was a forensic science. She just testified that she was the one that tested that received the shirt. They received the shirt in February. I wrote it down.
It's weird. What year?
She received the t-shirt February the 13th of 2019, but she didn't actually receive it herself in her hand to begin to test it until March the 8th, 2019. When she initially received it, she made sure that the bag was sealed. She opened the package and she looked for evidence of stains and any damages to the shirt. And before that, she basically just described the type of test that they do to determine if there's saliva or if there's semen on the shirts. One test for semen is kind of similar. It's called the P30 test, and it's very similar to a pregnancy test. The other they put under a microscope. So this case, she was looking for saliva and semen. Exhibit 241 is the shirt with the initials, with the doctor's initials and the data for analysis. After so we're gonna go through that. They did not say whether it matched Rob's. That was not said in court today. They just basically said there was 3 stains: Q1, Q2, Q3. Q2 came back negative. Q1 and Q3 came back inconclusive. Now, we say inconclusive. You can't use that in court with anything else. It don't mean nothing. It's inconclusive. But in this case, she said when they get it inconclusive, they still proceed with it because it had a color change. And because it had a color change, that indicates that there's some semen.
So was there any saliva?
No saliva, but there was tons of semen. So with the semen, you can test the quantity. It's either quantity. It goes from low, which is a +1 or -1, to all the way up to a +4. That's the highest level. On the shirts for Q1, it tested for a +3, and then Q3 tested for a +4. So that was a lot of semen on the shirts.
Okay, guys. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little rundown of the what the cost was for the previous transcript. Okay, the one that has 293 pages came out to $351.60. So Azriel, she had 3 days of interview, and I am sure it's going to be more than 293 pages, because she talked a long time. There's a lot of questions asked on her. A lot of questions. So Azriel, that one is going to be more than 351 per day. Per day. So I'm thinking hers going to be about 300 pages. What you think? About 300 pages?
It's gonna be a lot.
It's going to be a lot because there's a lot of questions they ask her. So I would say 400 times 3. I'm not sure. That it was 351.60 for that one. So I'm gonna show y'all. Yeah, see this? Yeah, see.
Yeah, that sure could have been. That's the media actually get the.
Can y'all see it?
Yeah, they get the transcripts. The media sitting in the other room, right aside from where I'm sitting at, collecting the same damn information. So that's why I don't know how they always
Well,
reporting
they
something
may
different.
not purchase the transcript.
They don't have to purchase the transcripts. They can go sit in the courtroom with the other people and get the same information.
They've been typing up. They just choose not to put it in there.
Yeah, so that was my point. They choosing not to put that
I
in there.
don't know, Dom. I don't know how much more you need. I don't know.
He looked good today. He had on a
know,
black suit with like a cream shirt.
Hold on. Once she sends me the invoice, I will let you know. Okay. Once she sends me the invoice, I'll let you know.
Yeah, they is reportable. Okay, so I'm gonna finish because she keep rushing me, but then she gets off topic.
No, because they just asked me a question about the invoice.
Okay, so the next witness that wasn't born today was probably her best friend, one of her best friends. So yesterday she testified that she was texting only 2 people, her friend Malak and Mia. Malak was the girl that she was texting when she said that she had to tell Rob that that was her cousin, because if she said that that was her best friend, she didn't believe that she didn't believe he would let her talk to her. So when the witness came to the stand, she said she received the subpoena to testify today. Yes. Did you want to be here? No. How old are you? 22. Where are you from? Where did you attend high school? Orlando. Moved there in 2014 around September, entering sophomore year. So that year, Azriel was a junior. She was a sophomore. They just showed her pictures. They told her make sure she referred to her as Jane. Photo.
And those who wants the copy of the transcript, your donation will have to be $50 to $75. Those who wants copies, 75 will give you all 3 of the ones you choose, and then 50 will give you one. Okay, but you can give anything like lower if you want to, because we're gonna read it. We're gonna start reading it on Friday, guys. The transcripts are gonna start being read on Friday. For the first one, the first one is gonna be with Geronda. Who was the other one? The doctor.
Girl, I don't know.
Geronda, the doctor, the guy that works for Robert in the driver, right? The driver, and Demetrius is
Demetrius. That's all I know. Demetrius, Geronda,
and Geronda. Well, Demetrius is going to be at the end part of Geronda's. So those are going to be the people going to be reading, and it's 200 something pages. So we're going to be doing these lives. It's going to be a stretch, y'all. It's going to be a stretch. So my readers.
So the way that worked, Azriel lived with Rob. It was a mutual house for them. So that's kind of like if you live with somebody over a certain amount of time. In certain states, it differs. But if you live there, you receive mail there, then you're technically a resident. So when she moved out, she was allowed, she could take anything in that house that she wanted to take out. So that's how she was able to take Rob property and then go on all type of channels and everything and be cutting it up and stuff, because she was a resident at that house. So it's not like he not out to go and say, well, she stole this and she stole that. So going back to the best friend, she said they did everything together. They hung out, all type of extracurricular activities. She said they stayed in contact. They talked every day up until she left. She says that she left around May 2015. That's when their relationship got a little bit strained. She said she still tried to stay at first in the beginning. They still kind of stayed in contact over phone, text calls, and FaceTime. But the communication seemed to lessen over time, and then eventually it stopped completely around the time she turned 18. Number 5 turned 18. She said she turned 18 during her friend's sophomore year, but that didn't make sense either. She had that wrong because they was only a year apart. So how were you when Azriel turned 18? Her birthday is in December, so that means she was starting a new school year. So she wouldn't have been a junior anymore. She would have been a senior. So that girl should have been a junior. So that was wrong when she said she was still a sophomore, unless she failed. The exhibit 936 was just a phone number. Was that your phone number? Yes, she's had that phone number since 2015. Um, number. So that she said number 5 used different numbers all the time. She communicated from multiple numbers. What did she say? They just went over basically all the numbers that they were texting from. And then she said October the 3rd, it was a time she got a text that she had already left Orlando. Oh, she got a text from her October the 3rd saying that she had already left Orlando and she was with Rob. Text said, she said, he nutted in me before his show today. And she said, who was he? She said, well, I know she was talking about Rob. And then she says, the friend texts her back and say, no, I'm sorry. She texts her friend and say, well, I hope we getting married. I want y'all to be the godmamas. And then she sent a picture with baby bottle emojis. And then she told them because she was scared to have an abortion. And then she texted them back and called them. She said, Mo, like, dude. She called them Mo, like, dude, and then she referenced being pregnant. She could be pregnant again. So they had sex October the 2nd, and she texted that she might be pregnant October the 5th. Additional text about she pregnant. She was referring to R. Kelly when asked about. She sent her photo. Okay, she said they asked about the photos that she sent to that Ass had sent to her friend, and she said, "What did she tell you to do with them?" And she said, "Well, she just asked me to keep those pictures safe." She actually text new, keep these. So she never said keep these in case something happened to me like she testified yesterday. She just basically said these are new, keep these. Then she texted earlier about texting from using different numbers. And then her friend texted her and said, hey, boo, I see you be recording your own music or no? And then text because she knew she was needing to help her. She said she sent that text because she knew that she was going out there to get help with her music. And then Azriel texts back, no, he be having me singing and shit, seductive shit, kind of make me want to sound like some Aaliyah shit.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And then she said after that, the text started to subside. She tried to communicate with her. October the 29th, the friend sent her a message. This 2015. Hey, boo, I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing okay. She didn't get a response. November the 5th. Hey, baby, hit me. Hope you're okay. November the 6th, she said, you need to answer. November the 8th. Hope you're doing okay. Call me, say you're okay. Me and me are really worried about you. November 11th, she said, baby, we're worried about you. And then she said they were a little bit concerned because she hadn't heard from her. And prior to that, they used to talk every day. So exhibit 205 was text from number 5. She says that was November the 14th when she finally heard back from her. And video. So when she finally heard from her, and then she sent her a video of her and Jamia hanging in the lunchroom at their old school, and she was sending it. She said, just send it to say hello. And then that's when she replied back and says, you can't do that. He checks my phone. And she said, what, the video? And then she says, what he gonna say if he see a video? And then she asked again why I can't send a video. And she said he would be like, why is that your best friend when why is this your best friend when you said that this was your cousin? I don't know what I put right there. And then the friend texted and said, "Oh, I see." And she said, "I just don't want you to get blocked. I just don't want to have to block your name because I have to show my maturity now that I'm with an older man and don't want to ruin the one chance I had to speak with you." So then after that, she texted her later and said, "How was your Christmas and birthday? Oh, how was your Christmas and your birthday is in 2 days?" And asked about what you get for the hubby. They was calling him the hubby.
The hubby.
Yeah. June 8th, 11. Oh, okay. And then she said on January the 8th, 2014, she was upset. She texted her because she said, Jamia always be like, 2016, Mia always be like, Ass text me and she said, and I be salty. It said, it said you don't know how to play. And then asked to text her back. She said, "It's sad that you don't know how to play shit off. Texting you will get me caught up. If I was with him, you would, and you mentioning me his name would have straight started some shit." And then she said, "Well, how would that start some shit? Don't he know we all friends?" And then they did some more back and forth with the text. And she said, he thinks y'all don't know each other. And she responded, you never told me that. How I'm supposed to know? And if I'm just your cousin, how come I can't know your friends? How come your friends can't know each other? She texted that she had an iPhone. She communicated phone, FaceTime, and text. She said she never met Rob. And are you familiar with Juice? And she said the only thing she knew about Juice is that she said that somebody there was with her during the time, with her all the time, and Juice was supposed to teach her how to please Rob. So then they just wanted to. I can't believe. Yeah, she testified that she does have herpes. Um, Nobody asked about Joy. Did they talk about? No, that's not this case. So they're not gonna discuss that car. That's still an open. That's still open in a whole nother jurisdiction. So they ain't gonna bring that in. Did you have? Did you go live? No, I wasn't at. I wasn't there for Geronda's, but I have the transcripts. Right? Yeah, I got the transcript. So Friday I'll talk about Geronda. Okay. So then they just basically showed some pictures. These are all the pictures that she had sent to her friend. And then she said that she would only receive calls from Ass early in the morning or really late at night. So she thought that was strange. After communication stopped, she said, "How old were you?" 16. And she then Kennick asked her, "Well, if you were so worried, did you make any reports to law enforcement?" And her response was, "No." And he said, "Why?" She said, "Because I didn't want to get involved with anything that she was doing." Wow. If that was a friend be trying to have yeah, she said, "I didn't want to get involved with anything she was doing." And they sidebar. Wow. The government asked for a sidebar. I think so, yeah. The government asked. So they talked to the judge, and then when they finished, the judge told them to just move on. And then Koenig said he had no further questions. I mean, the government said they had no further questions. Yeah, that's why, because the government asked that question and she said that, and they wasn't expecting her to say that. Just like they was not expecting her to say when she said, "Do you want to be here?" She said no. They was expecting her to say yes because I want to be here for my friend, but that's not what she said. Text messages you really don't know. Okay, so then they went over. So those text messages that she was receiving from her, do you really know that they were true or not? What she was saying? The girl said no. Asked what times? She said. He said, You got a text message early in the morning and you got them late at night. And she said yes. And then he said, well, were you in school were you in school during regular school hours? And then she said yes. And he said, well, maybe you didn't get the text messages during the day because you were only available in the morning and at night when you were out of school. She said, well, I would have responded to her if she would have texted me during school hours. And then she says, he said, and you did. She texted you at 3 o'clock. You text back at 3:14 and said, LOL, I'm watching TV, about to go to sleep. Talk to you later. So she he basically proved that even though she said she would have responded during the day, the one time she did text her during the day, she told us she has to go. She's watching TV and she's about to go to bed. And she said, yeah, I said that. And then so he said, no further questions. So that was it with her. And then the next witness, I'm not gonna even go through all of this because I don't even know how he was real. So this witness is gonna be on the stand first thing tomorrow. His name is Tom Arnold. No, he's not the manager. He's not a manager. So his name is Tom Arnold. He was a witness for the government. He went to the University of somebody because I didn't get that one. He studied audio. You gonna let me finish this? He studied audio and science in school for engineering. He was required to do some internship. He finished at about September of 1998. He did his internship at Chicago Tracks. So he was employed by Chicago Tracks, not Rob. But he did do little errands and everything for Rob. The Track Studios, not then, not at this point. Track Studios was located at 865 North Larrabee. The Brittany Green, baby. He said other artists that was there was called Ministry and R. Kelly were the only artists that worked out of that building. He was doing errands for Rob. He said it came a time when he did turn around and work exclusively for Rob, but that was I was trying to put everything in order. You jumping the gun. Okay, sorry. So he says the only reason why he started to work exclusively for Rob is because Tracks had shut down. So that's when it became Chocolate Factory. But he only worked from March 2003 until January 2008. He stopped for a few months, came back in May 2008, and worked up until February 2011. He said his responsibilities, he became a studio manager. His responsibilities was to help staff, made sure the runners were doing what they were supposed to do, provide petty cash, and help assist the engineers to do whatever. And he was sometimes responsible for answering the phones. The runners were pretty much paid internship level engineers at that studio. Additional titles later, he became his road manager for some tours and etc. He held that title after Tracks got tore down and demolished. Chocolate Factory, he moved around. They moved out around early 2004. They moved to Olympia Fields. Rob had the studio in his basement. Remember, he recorded that track Echo with K. Michelle. That was at Chocolate Factory. Responsibilities with respect to Rob's personal life. If people came to the studio or gate, had to make sure you let Rob know first. You had to stock the food for lounges, buses, etc. Transport individuals, guests, whoever. On a day-to-day basis, guests would be females that came to see Rob. He would someone would pick them up. Was less likely, but he said he was like it was always someone else to pick him up. But if he had to do it, he would have, and he would have brought them. That he would have been picking these people up from either home, business, or the gym. Who would tell Rob? Who would tell you to pick? He said, "Who would tell you to pick up someone?" He said, "Rob or someone else will tell me to go pick up someone." It had to be somebody close to him. And the reason is somebody close to him because that particular person would have to be able to get a hold of him. So that'll be people that's close to him. He will receive, like when female guests came to his house or to the studio, wherever, they would receive calls and the girls would be like, well, I need to go, I'm hungry. So then he would use the petty cash to go get them food, bring it back to him. Or if they wanted Rob, he would basically put them on a line and then he would write down the line number that they were on and he would take it to Rob. And he said the majority of the time Rob would be in the control room where the engineers, Ian and Abel, would be at. But he said the main engineer that he was working with, I believe he said his name was Jeff. His Rob's personal assistant at that time was June Brown, and his security was John Levy. They asked, what protocols did you follow when driving a female guest? He said he had to open the door for them. So if he opened the door for them, he obviously seen them and they seen him. So that you can't look at him, shit, it's nonsense. But he had to turn the rearview mirror. He had to turn the rearview mirror up and turn the music up. So I'm thinking, if the girl, like in the movies and shit, the girl be sitting in the back of the car and then the guy is driving, but he's looking at her through the rearview mirror and then they make eye contact and then they just be like all in love after that shit. I think that's kind of like why he was like, don't be looking at her face. Why is you looking at my girl face? So turn that shit up. It's a matter of respect. He don't know these dudes like that, but by doing that, he said, well, what was the purpose? Why would you think Rob would have you do that? He said, well, I think he did it because he just didn't want us making eye contact like that, which is pretty much what I said. He only had to do that with females. He didn't have to do that with any of the males. That he asked, how did he find that out? Did Rob tell you to do that? And he said, no, other runners told me to do that. They gave me instructions. So routines for letting female guests in: open the guests, take them up to whatever room Rob told to take them to, had them sign NDAs, and not only did they sign NDAs, they had to take a Polaroid picture of them and take a picture of their ID, and they stapled the ID and the Polaroid pictures together on the NDAs. So this man has been asking for ID since his last trial since 2008 is what the prosecution called him on there to testify to. Once again, kind of helping up the defense case without even thinking about it. All them bitches was sucking his dick. You crazy. What would your I'm about done, y'all. I'm about done. So that's basically it. He said if there was a party, a function, he said the only time he really did not take the IDs is if they was having a party or something, because it was just too many people coming in and out. So, but they did still take the pictures of each person. They just did not take the IDs. The purpose of taking the ID was basically to confirm their name and addresses and etc. and the information, whatever they put on the NDA. What interaction would you have? He said the only time he really interacted with the females is when they would call and because they wanted to eat or they was ready to go or something like that. And he never said any of these females looked underage. That was never said. He never said any of these females were locked in the room. Tomorrow he's still on the stand being questioned by the prosecution. So maybe they'll talk about that tomorrow. So that was basically it, y'all. I stopped taking notes because then what they did was pretty much put up, they just talked about tracks and they just put up a layout of each room in Track Studio where he had I'm a Capricorn, so he had 2 rooms that was labeled the Capricorn rooms, and the Rockland, what was it called? Oh, Rockland Records office area, and that's where a lounge where a lot of the girls would be at when they was waiting on him when he was recording at the studio. And he just pointed out where each of the bathrooms was at. The prosecution was stressing where the bathrooms. It sounded like to me they were trying to say they put the girls in the room that was further away from the bathrooms when there was 2 Capricorn rooms that was used for lounging right there, and they could have put the girls in there because there was a bathroom there. That's kind of what it sounded like what the point the prosecution was trying to make, in my opinion, but they didn't get that far. It's a stupid ass point, but yeah, you want to come over here, come hear your live? I'm done, y'all. That's all. I'm not even gonna lie. I kind of went to sleep after this, but they did not talk about nothing. They were just talking about the layout of the rooms. The dude that owned Track Studio, his name was Reed Hines. Go ahead, I'm finished. Good night, y'all.
Good night, guys.
It's 10:30 where we at. We have to be up again at 2. I'm finna get 4 hours of sleep, and then I'm finna go back there, do this. And that's what's on the time. Neutral stuff. You muted it?
Okay, guys, it's time for me to go to bed. We gotta go. We gotta go. I need a bonnet because my hair got oil on it now. All right, guys, we gotta go. I'm going to bed. So, tomorrow night we're not gonna do the what's in, because we'll be on our flight. We'll be on our flight tomorrow night, so we're gonna try to do something, but not too much. But okay, like Ivan said, hit the Cash App, hit the Zelle, hit the Vino, hit the everything, whatever it is. And you guys, it's bedtime. It's bedtime. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I will go live.
I don't know why you tired. You ain't done nothing today.
I am tired. I'm tired. Good night, everybody.
Hey, look, my food is all cold.
I ain't got. What do you mean 6,000 in my pocket? I ain't got none. Once that's not my money. That's Ronald's money. And we ain't. Do you really think you're gonna get money from him? From it, really? You think gonna get? Okay, I'm not holding my breath, but I was happy for the win. The win is what I. 7/8 is no court. Good night, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget those who we're trying to get that girl's transcript. You see, I think you guys need to get that one. That's the juicy one, the real juicy one. But I gotta go to bed. So, good night, guys. Good night, good people. Good night. Thank you for coming. Don't forget to hit the like button when you leave. Huh? Because they have the Jewish holidays. Dom, it's, oh Jesus, Dom with this $1. It's $5, Dom. Oh my God, he ain't nobody gonna get $1 is not. Dom is funny. Dom is so funny. He don't know how much emails I'm gonna get with that. Dom is real funny. Okay, good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Dom is funny. Yeah, I got yours. I'm sleepy. Good night, guys.